Okay. So
Swear
welcome
words.
to. I'm going to mute everybody. If you got a question,
Everyone else is now muted.
if you have any questions, post them in the chat and I'll answer them. I mute you because it becomes difficult for me to overtalk some of the background noise. Well, you don't have to leave. Um, okay. So anyway, welcome to my online class. Some of you are probably in 1030. Some of you are probably in 1040. Hopefully, there are some here from the other class that's not being taught by myself. I forget who your teacher is, but I am assisting her because I'm usually on till late, 11, 12 o'clock at night. So if you're sitting there struggling with your homework at night, come check and see if I'm online. I'm more than happy to help you. That's what I get paid for. Um, so some of the things I want to cover tonight, very simply, um, I'm going to cover how I like to see your M files set up for doing your homework. Um, there we go. How to change your current folder in MATLAB, which is very, very, very important, especially when you get dealing with data files. Some issues that I've had in the past with students and creating the names of their files, uh, how to set up your M file for doing your homework, uh, the element operator, what files need to be turned in for grading, and then the proper use of semicolons. And then I'll also answer any and all questions after that point and anything else that happens to come up. Anyway, so I am currently running MATLAB 2016B. I think there is a new version out. I have not downloaded it yet. Um, for this class, you can use basically any version of MATLAB because we don't get into some of the hardcore programming. This is basic programming in MATLAB. We will learn inputs and outputs to the screen, um, inputs from the users, graphing, user-defined functions, symbolic, just a whole bunch of stuff. I do highly recommend that you keep up with the homework during the summer semester because all of the homework assignments that we do during a regular semester over however many weeks is condensed down to the shorter semester. You still have the same amount of work but less time to do it in, and it's really hard to catch up once you fall behind. Again, I am here for your help. I'm here, your help. I'm here to help you. If nothing's sadder than to be grading homework and find comments in the homework that says I just didn't know how to do this. Well, first off, you send me an email in Canvas, and then we'll arrange a time to meet online, and I'll help you do it. Um, okay, so creating. Let's start off by doing setting up. I got an owie on my finger. Setting up the. Oh wait. Oh, I was gonna do that. Can y'all see my? Okay, hang on. Let's go here to preferences. Hang. I'm gonna do something here. Um, oh, somebody else just joined us. Oh, we got two mics. Um, fonts. I'm gonna desktop. Change my fonts to a little bit bigger, so hopefully you guys can see things more gooder. Um, it does here in the command window. Um, so setting up the current folder, you can see here. There's a tab here, and I have my mat. You can change MATLAB around. Ooh, I hesitate to do it because it's hard. Well, not hard. It's just so if we start with a new script file, I have my MATLAB set up like this. I have my current folder over here, my editor here, and the command window here. Um, the ones that you'll get when they come from the store, when you download it. Come on, you can. No, let's dock that. Open it up a little more. You'll see the dock. but you can just grab these around, and I think when it gets a fresh install, it has the command window up here and the editor down here. The command window is basically it displays the output from most of your calculations, and you can also do a direct input, r equals 2. And now if you'll check the workspace, you'll see that you have a variable here that is r equals 2. This pretty much should be all covered in the first couple of chapters. However, to me, I don't like seeing only 3 or 4 lines in my editor. Um, I like having lots of view here, and there we go. So I set it up so that I can see all of a lot of my editor window and the output to the screen. Again, it's all personal preference. Um, it doesn't make the let's see, where's the editor? Editor, there we go. And where's the font? Okay, display. It's okay. I'll have to work on that for the next time. Um, where is that? Okay, I guess it is big enough. I got to get my glasses fixed. So, so the work current folder. This is where you'll want to be saving all of your homework. I suggest creating a folder somewhere on your hard drive. You can work off of a floppy disk. A floppy disk, oh boy, that sure dates me, doesn't it? A thumb drive. Um, I created a folder. If you look here on my browser, come on my desktop, I created a folder here that says online MATLAB Online. I just created that one today for this class, so I'm going to set this one up as my current folder. You'll notice here that I'm currently not there. It's in the MATLAB folder under my documents. So there are a couple of ways you can change your current folder. You can hit this second arrow here, the folder with an arrow up, and it'll just go up one level until you get to where you want to go. Or you can hit this folder right next to it with a green arrow, and it'll pop up this window, and then you can just navigate to the folder you want and then select folder, and now a current folder is that one that I just created on my desktop. Well, I created it before I started this program. So now um, any files that you create will be saved into that folder. Um, and now this becomes really important when we're working with functions and data files, because unless you specify a path, it's going to default to the current folder, and if it can't find what it's looking for, it'll pop up an error. Um, so that's setting the current directory. So now the M file or the editor here, this is where you need to be doing your homework. I know a lot of, and I have some students, it takes me 4 or 5 assignments to get them to finally quit doing the work in the command window and start doing it, because you can do all your work in the command window and then save it as an M file and turn that in, but I can't grade it, and it really, to me, I think it's a lot harder doing the work in the command window than it is in the editor. So there are several ways in order to get into the editor. Um, and if I'm talking too fast, please let me know. I will slow down. Um, so you can click on the new script file. That'll open up a new, it's an editor, but it is an M file. It's called an M file because it's a .m. You can go to the home and new script. Oh, we were home. You can click on this plus mark right here. We'll give you another one. Or if you do a control N, we'll give you another one. That was control plus the N key for non-Mac users. If you're on a Mac, I'm not sure what your commands are for the keys. I've only helped students with a Mac. I've never really operated one. So that's how you create an M file. Now, what do you do with it? It's just, I mean, you type things in here, and then what? Okay, y equals n3. Okay, um, it doesn't do anything. So let's see, area equals pi. Somebody stole my times button. Sorry, it's been a long day. Times r raised to the 2. Okay, so now we've created this code. There are several things that you can do with it. If you're on the editor tab, if you hit run selection, it's going to run everything that's on in that cell, and I'll cover cell mode in just a minute. So right now we've only got one cell, so it runs the whole file, and we'll see that the area is that. Um, let's go ahead and go into cell modes right now. If to create a cell, if you take 2% signs followed by a space, and then you can type in um, any note you want, and that's created a cell. You know, I don't know if you can see that, but this has created a yellow cell up here. That means that that one's active, and the white down here isn't. Okay. Um, you don't need to do a cell on the top one, but being an engineer, I like symmetry. I'd suggest doing a CLC which clears the command window, and then something you might want to get in the habit of doing is clearing the variables on every new problem. There's been many a times when I have a student come up to me on problem 15 saying, look, this is working, but it's not giving me the right information. What's going on? Well, they defined X in problem 1, they never cleared all the variables, and then they defined some other variable in problem 15, but because X was still defined, it still worked. So if you get in the habit of clearing your problems every time you do a new one, unless of course 2 works off of 1, then you don't want to clear until after you get done with that. But that's anyway. So now that we've got 2 cells, let's come down here and just do something else. R equals 5, and I guess we could have just cheated and copied and pasted, but that wouldn't be nice. Oh, that would be so nice. 8 times pi r raised to the twice. Okay, and let's do a CLC and a clear down here. So now if you hit this one, you hit the run section, it's running it, but it stays, the control stays in that cell. So no matter how many times you hit that, it's going to stay there. But if you hit the run and advance, it runs that cell, and you notice that now the control ran down to problem 2, and we can run that one. So that's the thing with the beauty with cells, and it doesn't matter how many cells you have in there. Oops, but it does have to follow with a space. Okay, if you hit this, run this, it's only going to run that cell. So if you do your homework problem using cell mode, you can put each problem in a different cell and not have to execute the entire file every time you want to check the results of the problem you're currently working on. It also makes it a lot easier to okay, one of the later problems are previous is okay if I use the same variables. Yes, you may use the same variables intentionally. Um, just be aware that that just make sure that they have the values assigned to them that you expect them to have. So there are other ways to execute cell mode here. If you hit Control Enter, um, let's clear this out. If you hit Control Enter, it runs the same as the run section. Or if you hit Control Shift Enter, it executes and moves down. I like using the keyboards when I'm grading because it goes a lot faster. Let's say for some reason you wanted to see what this was actually producing. If you highlight it, right mouse click, you can evaluate the selection, and it'll only execute what's highlighted. Or if you highlight it and hit F9, F9, if my F9 button, my F button's not F9. You can also used to be able to come up here. Okay, yeah. Okay. Any questions so far? Have I got you all totally lost, confused, dazed, ready to quit, drop this class, take up pinochle over basket weaving? So we've covered current folder, creating in file, valid file names. The valid file names. You when you name your homework, um, that's not what I wanted. Um, if you, when you save your homework, and if you try to do okay, it's going to tell you it'll save. You can force it to save it, but it's not a valid file name because in file names they have to be follow the same rules as variable names. So you can't have spaces, you can't have special characters, you can't have the periods because if you do, a lot of students will um, save dot one, and then this is changing the format of the thing from a well, okay, maybe in this version it's not, but in earlier versions it would make that as a dot one file instead of a dot m. So you just got to make sure that you save your file as a valid file name. It does take underscores, and now that one's a valid file name. Okay, the another thing you're going to come across here shortly is trying to work with vectors and matrices. Let's say that we wanted to see what the area is in a range of values from 1 to 5. So this tells MATLAB to assign R the value beginning of 1, ending of 1, and because there's no specification, it's going to default by an increment of 1. We can verify that by. Oh, I bet that's why it was doing, because you were hitting that. You're an idiot. So you see R now has a value of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, now if we try to square R, we're going to get an error because you can't square a vector um, unless it has the proper dimensions, which we'll learn later on. And that's not really what we wanted anyway. Squaring a vector is matrix mathematics, and we're just trying to square each element in that vector. Um, the way to do this is to put the element operator before the mathematical operation that you're trying to do um, on your vector. So on this one, we're trying to, and I hope you guys can see me pointing at my screen. I don't know why I do that. We're trying to square R. So by putting the element operator before the caret, that tells MATLAB to go into R vector and just square each element. And we can see that by just highlighting that and evaluating that. And now we can see that R is 1, 4, 9, 16, 25 has been squared. So the places where you would need to do this would be in multiplying and squaring or raising to a power of vectors and matrices. Um, Another issue, and you'll come across this in an upcoming assignment, is you can't divide by a vector or matrix either. It's impossible, mathematically impossible. It's like trying to divide by zero. You cannot divide by a matrix, no matter what size your matrix is. So here again, whenever you're trying to divide by a matrix or a vector, you need to use the element operator. And then MATLAB will go in one at a time and pick each element and divide into the numerator. Okay, and I'm glad this happened. If y'all see this file right here, this Fox assignment ASV, and y'all wondering what the heck is an ASV. Well, it tells you right there. It's an autosave file. It is something that MATLAB does. If you're in your folder, your file long enough, it will create an autosave file. And if for some reason your original file becomes corrupt, you can. Um, I'm gonna copy that and paste it so that I have it, because every time I've tried to do this in the past, it's it disappears when I close the file that I'm working on. So let's say for some reason that I need to use this automatic save file. Only thing you have to do is come into here. You can double click and get it in there, but to get it into where you can open it is just change that ASV to an M, and then it will give you everything that was in that file the last time it did an automatic backup. Very handy when you spend hours on a program and it crashes and you've lost everything because you forgot to save. MATLAB does it for you. Okay, and the last thing I want to cover is semicolons. Semicolons are very, very important in MATLAB and keeping your grader happy. Okay, if you see this little orange mark over here, this thing causes me so much grief in grading. You click on, if you just hover your mouse over that, it pops up this message saying that the second one, terminate statement with a semicolon to suppress the output. And so students see that and they say, oh, well, then that's got to have a semicolon on it. And it's still saying that there's an error there because I'm not doing anything with the area. You can do one file with all the problems on it in cells. And then also what I would like is not problem 1, but label these problem 2.1, problem 2.2, whatever the actual problem number is. That makes it so much easier for me to grade. Because if you just run them all together, I don't know where one problem starts and one problem ends. And I want to be fair to give you full credit for everything you've done. So if you put semicolons on the end of everything, it suppresses the output to the command window. We'll leave that there and show you that when we run this code now here, there's nothing there. It ran. We can go to the workspace. We'll clear everything. You see everything's cleared. And if you go looking for these buttons in your MATLAB, you're not going to find them. I've created those myself. Those are commands that I use over and 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 over. So I just made me a shortcut for them. If you want to learn how to do that, send me a message and I'll show you how. So if we run this here, we'll see that it created the stuff here, but it didn't output it here. So it is highly recommended to suppress your calculation lines, anything where a calculation is required. But please, the final answer needs to come to the command window so that I can see that the math is correct. I'm grading 3 classes of this, 6 classes of 4 classes, and that's upwards to 100 students, and to have to sit there and go through line by line every problem to find your problems, it's just very time consuming. But if I can see the output, then I know the math is right. And when you do that, I have to go through and remove all the semicolons so I can see the output. Any questions? GG.
Everyone else is now unmuted.
Okay, I've unmuted everybody, so if you got questions now, you can. Or comments, wants, needs, complaints. Please, no complaints. I got a low self-esteem. I can show you something that if you get bored of doing homework and you need some entertainment for a few minutes, just type 3 little letters into the command window, those 3, and hit enter. And then if you arrow up and hit enter again as often as you want, it'll keep you entertained for a little while. Are y'all working on...
I've got a question.
Okay, I got an answer. I went to the store and bought some more.
So I think when when you were showing like the semicolons, my computer kind of like lagged a little bit, and I couldn't see what you were doing with your mouse.
Okay. Um,
So with the semicolons, we shouldn't put those after.
yeah, if you've got, well, let me pull up um, okay. So you can see here on this one here. Oh, that's a plotting. Okay, that's not a good example. Um, Here's my solutions. Um, we'll say like for this one here, I've got all of these lines here that are defining the variables, and then my calculations. They're all suppressed, so that only the answer comes to the screen. Whereas, and you can leave these all unsuppressed, which is fine. It makes it hard to see on the screen what your final answer is. Um, but if you put a semicolon on everything, then I don't see anything. And you wouldn't think it's much to just do that, but when you got to do that on 15 and 20 problems on 100 students, it's very time consuming. Also, another thing too, I suggested um, this CLC and clear at the beginning. At the beginning, okay, the beginning is the operative word. At the beginning of each problem, okay, that is great. I highly recommend it. Unless problem two works on problem one. If problem two works on problem one, then you don't put a clear in there. But I've had students put this stuff at the end of the problem, and even without semicolons in there, I don't see anything. Uh, and it's almost like they're trying to hide something. So put these at the beginning of your problem, and
Okay, I think I have a question about that.
okay,
So I've done project or problem 2.4a and 2.4b,
okay,
and then at the beginning of 2.4b I put CLC clear,
okay.
but I'm only getting when I run the script I only get the result from problem B.
Yes. If if
So
if if you've if okay, let's say um, you did. Um, well, let's just say that this here was, oops, problem A and problem B work together. Um, if you do this, okay, we got the CLC clear in the middle of the problem. You're only going to see the last bit of it because everything before this clear has been erased.
mhm.
So
So you wouldn't.
yeah, if you're going to do that, there's a couple of things you can do. Is put them both in a separate cell. Then I'm forced to execute both of them. Or there's a code that we don't teach in this class, but a lot of students find out about it. Um, is you could do a pause, and then
Okay,
the number you put inside the parentheses is how long the pause is before it goes on to the next problem.
I see.
Or and also if you're running two problems together, um, if they're all working off the same, it doesn't hurt my feelings to have them all run out into the same.
Oh, I see. So if we have them in two separate cells, should we have two separate answers in the command window? Would those be?
Well, if you got them in
I mean,
separate
should we run
cells,
one?
yeah, just make sure that you labeled it that one's part A, part B, and then I'll just run
Okay.
each cell, and it'll pop up the
Okay.
answers.
I see.
Another thing students are fond of doing is once they've run this, they'll grab this over here and copy it over here, and then when you try to run this, it doesn't work because this here is invalid code. So this needs to be made a comment.
How
If
do
you
you run a separate cell?
A cell is created with 2% signs, and then
Oh no, I got that. I mean, like, how do you run
how do you
like
run?
a
Okay,
separate
yeah,
cell? Yeah, because I'm not able to get a
yeah,
result for the Avon.
yeah, I'm
Yeah.
using the keyboard. Control Enter will execute the current cell. Control Shift
Okay.
Enter executes and transfers to the next cell.
Okay.
Okay, the other method is you can hit Run Selection up here on the keyboard,
Ah, nice. Okay. Uh,
or you can
that
do the
works.
Run in Advance. Um,
Okay.
and then there's
Thank you.
also, yeah, I think that's, yeah.
Got it.
Um, um, oh, I wish I could remember the name of that other instructor. Man, I tell you,
Nice.
mind is a terrible thing to lose. Corinne, is there anybody from Corinne's class here? Corinne Holden. I think she's teaching in. I don't know if she's online or in person. I don't know. So you're all my students then.
Uh, yep.
Yep. Okay. Cool. Yes, I am talking. Can you not hear me, Jerry? Oh, are you talking? I can hear you. Oh, am I taking roll? No, I don't take roll on these. These online sessions I do once a week, and I will continue doing them as long as people show up. Are completely optional. I also video recording them, and I'll post the video on Canvas once it's done, so you can reference back to it. Obviously, this first one is pretty simple, um, but when we get into some more of the complex stuff, it's good to have that reference. Um, I guess another thing to discuss is the exams. There will be 3 exams this semester. The first 2 exams will be the same exam for 1030 and 1040. They will be held in the testing center. You will have the entire week that the testing center is open during the week of the exam to schedule a time to go in and take the exam. The final exam will be during the finals week. The same thing, it'll be available during the entire week so that you can find a time that fits your schedule to go in. 10:30 after the second exam, we'll continue on with MATLAB. 10:40, we'll break from MATLAB and go to Excel. They are open book tests. You'll have 2 hours to take the exam once the file is opened on your computer in the testing center. Do not write in your textbooks. I used to, a long time ago, allow the students to put little notes in their textbook to help them out, but one student took advantage of it, and basically every available blank spot in their textbook was written with notes, and the testing center would not allow them to take that in, so I just had to stop. No notes in the textbook. No homework of any kind, either electronic or hard copy. You'll get your book only and the online help in MATLAB. Um, if you have, if you know the command you want to use but you can't remember some of the details about it, if in the command window you type help and then the command and hit enter, it'll pull up some details here that'll help you get through it. And if you need more help than that, you can come down here and hit on the reference page, which will open up another window and give you even more details about it. You're more than welcome to use that during the exams also. Yeah, it'd be kind of hard for me to stop you from using it. There's no way to control that. Um, what else? Again, I'm here for you guys. Make me earn my pay this semester. I want to help you guys out. So believe. No, that was a come in call. Viewer 8? Has viewer 8 been here? So, are any questions? Anything you want me to demo? I mean, you want me to work a problem? I couldn't hear or see how you were able to open up that reference sheet. The reference sheet. Um, okay, I can repeat that to begin with. To get help online in MATLAB, um, type in the word help followed by the command which you want help with and hit enter. And it'll open up this dialog here, which will give you a lot of useful information. Most of the times you can get with what you need. I use the plot mainly to remind me of the commands for the colors and for the marks on it and whether I want it dotted or dashed, because I mean, let's face it, I have trouble remembering my own name. There's no way I'm going to remember all this stuff. So, a quick help plot, pull that up and I can see what I want. If that isn't enough, then if you scroll down to the bottom of that, there's links down here. This one says reference page for plot. If you click on that one, it'll open up this help feature over here. Um, some things, I like to do a lot from the keyboard. Um, you will be able to use your books as long as they're not written in. And also, they will not allow e-readers into the testing center. So if you have an e-reader, you'll need to get with a fellow student, see if you can borrow their textbook to go into the testing center. Some quick commands here. If you want to uncomment something, control plus the T will uncomment something, or if you want to comment it, control R. Um, I'm not sure what you'd need a graphing calculator for, but if it's necessary, I I could probably do graphing, but not programmable. Some students could probably figure out some way to put some sort of useful information in a programmable calculator. I've never had the request before, and I've been working this class for, well, if I tell you how many years, that's going to make me really old. It's been about 20 years now I've been working with Holly in this class. That's right, Lex. MATLAB is a calculator, and you can do lots of plotting with graphing. Oops. If we do x equals 1, 2, oops. Let's put 0.01 to 20. Y equals sine of x plot x comma y. There's your sine wave. And we'll learn this in chapter 4, so I don't expect you to know this yet. Although you should be able to know how to do this part. Keep an eye on Canvas. I do post a lot of stuff in the announcements. Basically, anything that's useful to you that comes up. I try a week before the exam to remind you that it's coming up. It is posted in the calendar. And usually the Saturday before the exam, I'll post a practice exam. It's being slow. It's slow. There we go. So it looks like our first test is June 13th. Let's maybe. Um, oh, there's a lot of difference. Square brackets are used for defining vectors and matrices. Um, so let's say you want to define x as values of 2, 5, 7, and 3, 9, 2. There you would use the square brackets. Parentheses are generally for inputs into commands. Okay, come on back next week, Lex. Oh, she left before we could, or they left before I could say goodbye. I'm crushed.
All right. Well, thanks for the help.
Okay, like I say,
See you next
if you
week.
have questions during the week, give me. I'm available pretty much every night of the week except Saturdays. So,
All right. Awesome. Thank you.
yep.
Uh, would you be able to help
Thank you.
at all with anything regarding all access? I'm in St. George, so I don't really get have a computer lab to go into.
Yeah, you can't
Uh,
get into all access. Um,
uh, I can get into it, but I've just had some problems with it crashing on me randomly.
yeah, that
Uh,
uh, that has been a big problem with all access uh,
okay, I
for
might
a
be the only
long
one.
time. It's
I see.
very very touchy. If you can, it's only $100 to get you a student loan copy. You can download it.
Okay,
Yeah, or if are you 1030 or 1040?
I'm 1040.
10 what?
1040.
1040. Um,
Uh,
I don't normally suggest this to students, but if you want to go a cheaper route, you can. Um,
yeah,
I'm getting there. Hang on.
definitely.
Because you won't need it for 1030 or 1040, but the 1030 students need Simulink. But if
Hmm,
you get into later classes in your studies, you may need Simulink. You may be able to come back and buy an upgrade. Um,
okay.
so if you go to mathworks.com and go to the academia, you can get in here and so if you buy the package with Simulink, it's $100. If you buy it without Simulink, it's $50.
Okay, nice. Might
And
take
you
that
you
route.
you can download
Yeah.
that tonight and have it up and running. Hopefully, now that I've said that, you're probably going to have download issues. So, how long are you in St. George?
Nice,
You gonna be able
nice.
to come up here for the exams, or do we need to set up a proctor for you down there?
Oh, that might. I didn't think of that. I've been commuting back and forth all last semester. I've been doing that, once a week or so. If we can set up a proctor down here, that would be a lot easier.
Is there
But
is there a school down there?
there's a couple, yeah. One in Cedar City and one in St. George,
Because
Dixie
if we could
States.
connect it with their testing center, that would be the best thing to do. Um,
Yeah, that might work out. It seems like we've got just got a couple weeks before the first
yeah,
test,
yeah.
so
Well, like I say, June
I
13th
should
is the
get out
first
on that.
exam. Um,
Mhm.
is this? Oh no, that's not the one we want. Uh,
Okay. Is the student version um is that kind of linked to the school calendar? Am I able to use that, once the class is over,
yeah,
or
no, it's. I actually bought a student version to put on my office computer just for helping students while I'm at work.
nice? Okay. Yeah, it looks like I'll have to do that. That seems
Um,
much more efficient.
what am I doing in here? What was I doing? I don't
We were
remember.
looking to,
Oh,
yeah, set
Proctor.
up,
Okay,
see if
yeah.
it's
Sorry.
possible to set up a proctor.
See, that's the problem with only having two functioning brain cells. I tend to forget what I'm doing quite a bit.
Yeah.
Um, Excel
Figure
file.
that out with MATLAB. Suppose to run the script and find out you only have two brain cells functioning.
Uh,
Oh man.
it's funny. I went to. I guess we can pause this now.